Okay, Top Gun Maverick. This is a movie I am really excited to talk about because I really enjoyed my time watching this movie. There was this energy in the theater yesterday, whether it was just walking into the door, watching people in the concession stand, finally watching people find their seats. You could feel that the energy was high, all right? And it was something I it's kind of hard to explain because I haven't felt this type of energy before a movie started in a long while. And I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, what does this kind of compare to? And the last time I could kind of feel the amount of energy that I felt yesterday, right before a movie started, I would say is probably Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Because when The Force Awakens came out, that was 10 years since the last Star Wars movie. And now you have Top Gun Maverick, which is coming out 36 years later after the first one. And I mean, the first Top Gun was made a decade before I was even born. So while I've been wanting a sequel for a while, I mean, there's been people that have saw the top first Top Gun movie when it first came out, and they've been waiting the full 36 years. So I don't have any room to complain about how long it took them to finally make a sequel. But boy, watching this movie in IMAX, it was an experience. And this movie wastes no time getting started. Within just the first few minutes of this movie, you got aircraft carrier shots, you got jets taking off, you got Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins playing, you got Tom Cruise on a motorcycle, you got all this cool stuff happening within just the first few minutes of the movie. And this movie, when we talk about some of the greatest sequels of all time, people talk about like Terminator 2, Aliens. If we want to talk about more recent memory, people like to bring up stuff like Mad Max Fury Road. And there's a reason that people like to bring those movies up, and it's not just because they think that they're better than their predecessors, but also they kind of elevate their predecessors in a way. That's what Top Gun Maverick does. Top Gun takes a really kind of cool 80s movie, because for me, Top Gun's always been cool. It's just been a good movie. I've never thought the first Top Gun was great or anything, but it was always good. It was always a solid watch. Top Gun Maverick comes in as a sequel, and it elevates it. It's almost like, and I went and saw this movie with my dad, and he put it perfectly. He said it's almost like the movie came from, like, grew up out of the 80s. Like, this movie is straight from it. It's almost like it still takes place in the 80s, even though it's modern day, but it like grew up. And that's like the best way to really put it. Is this movie is is like Top Gun grown up, and it's absolutely fantastic. Tom Cruise continues to deliver. Is basically, I hear people saying he's like the top last action star, last really kind of movie star in a way. And I really think that's true, because even before this movie started, they showed a trailer for the next Mission Impossible movie, and people are just losing their minds over that. Then this movie starts. The first time you see Tom Cruise on the screen as Maverick, people start clapping. People were so excited for this movie, and rightfully so, because this movie was so great. And Tom Cruise, whose character in this movie is basically now the teacher, and he's, the chemistry that he has with all the other pilots in this movie, and how he's able to kind of have this camaraderie with all those people, it's something that I wasn't necessarily expecting to be done as well as it was done. And let's talk about Miles Teller, who plays Rooster in this movie. He did a fantastic job, and obviously Rooster is the son of Goose. And as we see in the trailer, him and Maverick, we're definitely gonna have some rough patches to get past in this movie. So Tom Cruise and Miles Teller really worked off each other well. The tension was really well done in the scenes between those two actors. I've always liked Miles Teller. I always wish he got a little bit more work, but whenever he does get work, he does a great job, and he continues to do a great job in this movie. All the other cast members in this movie that play the Top Gun pilots are also, they're all great. The camaraderie in this movie is one of my favorite parts of this movie. And that's, I think, also one of the main reasons that everybody really gravitated towards the first Top Gun movie, was just the fact that the cast was all really likable, and everybody liked the way the cast kind of worked off each other. And that continues to be an A plus factor here with Top Gun Maverick. Obviously, we all know that Val Kilmer is going to show up in this movie, and it's been reported on and stuff. It's, he's in the casting thing. So when Val Kilmer shows up, it's really well done. It's an emotional scene, and that's one thing with this movie, is that every single emotional scene that this movie has, it handles really, really well. And I want to talk about Jennifer Connolly's character, who plays Penny in this movie. In the first Top Gun, you kind of had the action and the romance were pretty balanced in that movie. The romance takes a little bit more of a backseat in this movie, and I enjoyed that. It's not to say that there's anything wrong with having romance, but I really enjoyed the fact that, Maverick was front and center as the teacher, trying to get these Top Gun pilots ready for the mission that they're training for. However, when Jennifer Connelly is on the screen, and she has a specific part in this movie where she's giving, a little minute dialogue speech to Tom Cruise, it really kind of pushes the narrative forward. And I do like Jennifer Connelly's character in this movie, but I did also enjoy the fact that the romance did take a backseat, and we got to see a little bit more action this time around. And speaking of action, watching the F-18 planes fly around, especially in IMAX ratio, was breathtaking. It was loud in IMAX, just the way it should be, and it looked absolutely amazing. The action in this movie was just top notch. And Tony Scott, if he was still alive today, I think would be really proud with just how great this movie looks, because this is a movie that's been trying to get made for a very long time. And when Tony Scott unfortunately passed, that was just another bump in the road for this movie. So, had Tony Scott still been alive, I really do think he'd be smiling ear to ear watching this movie. This is definitely, definitely a great sequel to the first Top Gun, and it's a sequel I recommend everybody watch. This is a great theater going experience. I implore you to not sit there and wait for this to come to digital or streaming. You've got to go watch this in the theater, and if you have an IMAX near you, even if the IMAX I'd say is like 40 minutes to an hour away, it's definitely worth it for this movie. This is great. If you're a fan of the first Top Gun, you're going to be a fan of Top Gun Maverick as well. I definitely recommend seeing Top Gun Maverick in the theaters. And if you have already seen Top Gun Maverick, let me know what you thought about it in the comments section down below. And like always, I hope to see you back in my next review.